thank you all for your patience. I thought I could do it in 15 minutes, but it took a lot longer than I thought, even though I was uploading photos and naming them while the show was airing. While the Emmys were going, I was compiling this live stream, but I still needed a little bit of extra time to put it all together. But I have a real beauty of a live stream put together for you. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to go through my overall thoughts on the show. Then I'm going to go through the 3 different categories of winners, drama, comedy, and limited series. And then at the very end, because you're joining me live, we'll do a short Q&A. And thank you so much. I opened this live stream to subscribers because it's very late. We're all on a post-Emmy buzz. And it's great to be able to discuss the show with you. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I thought overall it was pretty good. But I have a little, I think that the Nate Bargatze gag about that donation to the Boys and Girls Club really kind of killed the show to some degree. And we're going to talk about it. Thank you, Maria. Okay, so for the opening, I have chapter times. And for the other ones, we're just going to go through the pictures. Okay. Thank you, Popcorn Roulette. All right, so I got my little arrow for the chapter times. Boop, baby, boop. So what I want to start with, actually, is I was really impressed with Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen thank you, Rogue Frogger, for the Bob Hope Humanitarian Award and seeing how much they do to make the world a better place. And I think that what made it even more striking and more meaningful was that I had no idea that they did this much work. And I think it's lovely that they don't try and get any publicity for it, that they truly are just trying to do good. And so I thought that was really lovely. And that, in fact, was one of my favorite parts of the evening, just seeing what they were doing. Thank you, Ryan. All right, so I just wanted to shout that out first. I thought it was really important. Then I really liked the stage. Let me make this so you can see it a little bit bigger. All right, so I thought the stage was beautiful. I liked the way it looked. I thought it looked really nice with kind of like that corner, and I just thought it looked very pretty in the wide shots. And then I also really liked this thing where they had the Emmys behind them. Those were real Emmys. Part of me thought that it was just like a digital background, but it was actual Emmys that were up there. And I kind of wish that as the night had gone on, the Emmys had kind of dwindled down behind them and they actually were giving away those Emmys. So if you were sitting in the audience, you could be like, oh, there's only a couple left up there. I hope ours gets one. So I thought that was really sweet. But I thought the stage was very nice. Now let's talk about Nate Bargatze. So he started out doing another take on his Washington gag from Saturday Night Live. He's done it twice now on Saturday Night Live. Hilarious both times. But he also, I don't know if you saw his Christmas special. I'm a big Nate Bargatze fan. I've been a fan of Nate Bargatze before he became famous or semi-famous. I think he's a wonderful comedian and a great person. So I watch a lot of his stuff. And he did a Christmas special where he did the exact same bit, but with the angel Gabriel. And then he did it here again with television. I think it's funny. I thought he had some good bits here, but I think he's running this gag into the ground. So, and he doesn't need it, by the way. I don't know why he feels he needs to constantly repeat this gag, because I think Nate Bargatze's really funny, and he doesn't need to lean on this so strong. But then here was the big issue. He had this gag. So he actually introduced it the other night. I think it was on Fallon or on Seth Meyers. I think it was on Jimmy Fallon. So he went on the Tonight Show, and he said the way he was going to keep the show running smoothly was that he had a donation to the Boys and Girls Club of America. And for every second that somebody went over in their acceptance speech, he would deduct $1,000 from the amount. And if you were under, he would add $1,000. So it's a very funny suggestion. Like, what if we were to do this? You go, haha, that's hilarious. But I don't think it was funny that he actually did it. I think it had disastrous effects on the evening. So how so? So the speeches are where a lot of the viral moments, especially the most heartfelt ones, come out of an awards show. But who could really give a heartfelt speech when every second they run over, they're taking money from disadvantaged boys and girls? So that really made a lot of the speeches not really work out. And I think that it was a mean thing to do to people who've waited their whole lives, to win this. It's a big moment in their career. And then they feel like they have to cut it short because it'll make them look bad and they'll be doing something bad to somebody. So I think it was not great for the show, and I think it was really unfair to the winners. Also, I got to tell you, I thought it was particularly annoying because I think it should have applied to the presenters as well. There were a number of presenters who went on way too long with their gags. Like Tina Fey offered to pay, make the difference, but you're like, oh, Tina Fey, he's not deducting for the presenters. Like, yeah, Jennifer Coolidge went over, Brad Garrett went way too long with that gag. I was like, I get it, Brad. I get where you're going with this. Let's wrap it up. So I really felt that it should have applied perhaps more to the presenters than to the people winning the awards. So that felt even more unfair. You were like, you're just letting these people ramble on forever, no penalty, and the meaningful speeches get cut short. Then it got really annoying because, and then for a while, Nate Bargatze was showing like a negative amount, and you're like, oh my God. But don't worry, of course he wouldn't not give money to the Boys and Girls Club of America. So at the very end, even though they were actually negative money, CBS gave $100,000 and Nate Bargatze gave $250,000. So it was for a total of $350,000 actually, way more than it was ever originally promised. But that actually annoyed me even more because I was like, why did you put all those actors through that for nothing? It wasn't funny, and you didn't even stick to your guns. I did think it was funny, though, when Nate Bargatze said he was going to start a swear jar. So that was a really bad idea. And it also ate up too much of Nate Bargatze's hosting time. He constantly had to refer back to this gag rather than doing other bits, which I know he's very capable of. All right, let's talk about some surprises. All right, so the biggest surprises, I think it came in the actor categories. Stephen Graham beat out Colin Farrell for Best Actor in a Limited Series. Noah Wyle beat out Adam Scott for Best Actor and Best Actor in a Drama Series. I think these were the two biggest shockers of the evening. I think not so shocking in that, we didn't totally expect it, but that it actually happened. It was very surprising. Colin Farrell and Adam Scott seemed like it was a done deal. But something that I noticed that I thought was very interesting about this, and I want to include Seth Rogen in this, who won Best Actor for Comedy, and that's that all three of these gentlemen are involved behind the scenes with their shows. Stephen Graham is a writer and a producer and a creator. Same for Seth Rogen, and they're also directors, I believe. And then Noah Wyle, he doesn't write, and I think he might be a co-creator, I'm not sure, but he is certainly a producer. And so that is a big trend, and I'm not sure how I feel about that being included in the acting category win, because that should be maybe like a separate award then, or maybe they should win for producing, and for the most part, all three of them actually did. Because they all won respectively for their shows as well. So I had mixed feelings about that, but that was interesting. Oh, he does write for the Pitt? Thank you, Carissa. So Adolescence was the only sweep that we got. Adolescence won every award that it was up for. It lost in it didn't win everything in the limited categories, but that's because it wasn't up where it lost. So if Adolescence was up for anything, it won. So that was very interesting. But there were no sweeps in comedy or drama. People expected a sweep for the studio. Did not happen. People also expected a sweep maybe for the Pitt or Severance. The Pitt had a little bit of an edge, to be honest with you, but both of them got awards. So that was interesting, not to see like a full sweep. But there was a shutout, and that was The White Lotus. Oh my gosh, where did my White Lotus thing go? I loaded that up. Oh yeah, it's in the thing. Okay, hold on. Boom, boom. It was shut out. The White Lotus didn't win anything. And Parker Posey, that's a shocking loss. But I believe that the White Lotus lost for a couple of reasons. I feel the White Lotus has already won a whole bunch for its first two seasons. And then also, I think they split the vote. I think certainly probably for, and I think the studio split the vote too for Best Supporting Actress in Comedy. I just think that, they have so many nominees they just fill their categories, and I bet you that they split the vote. So I think that's one of the reasons. Although some people didn't like this season. Wanda's attorney says worst season by far. I don't know. I think Sam Rockwell and Parker Posey were real contenders, and Carrie Coon. But the White Lotus, it's got to hurt a little bit to those actors. Mike White didn't even show up. I think maybe he suspected what was coming. But it's got to hurt a little bit to this cast that the casts before them swept the awards, and they did not. All right, then finally, in the overall section that we're discussing, we got to talk about Mr. Stephen Colbert, who got when he came out, he was the first, after the sketch, the George Washington style sketch, Stephen Colbert came out first. He got a standing ovation from the crowd. They were chanting Stephen, 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 and he would go on to win Best Talk Show that evening. It's clearly, they also talked about the broadcast system losing, having to go out because the Congress voted to defund it. That's very frustrating. Hopefully, with the next administration, they'll vote to put it back in. Thank you, X-Men Superfan. But, it was a little political. I think the Colbert Show, live by the sword, die by the sword. But, it was and I do wonder how the Ellisons feel watching this. Does it bother them, or they go, enjoy your victory lap while you can? I'm curious. I don't think you're going to sway or embarrass the Ellisons into changing their mind. Did he just sign a Netflix deal? Was that just announced? That would be amazing if it's true. That's very interesting. I did not see that. A couple announcements came out this evening. I did see that Hacks was revealed that season 5 is the final season for that show, so it will be wrapping up. So somebody will be able to win Best Actress going forward, unless Jean Smart gets another show. Okay, so that's my thoughts on the overall. Now let's go and talk about the categories. So here we go. We're going to start with drama, because that's the show that ends the night. Oh, wait, I don't know my chapter times anymore. That's the show that ends the night. The Pitt is more of a low-key realistic show. But, in the past, it's been the Succession. It's been the Game of Thrones. And again, it is HBO, actually, come to think of it. That HBO, they always win. So, I wanted to start out, I'm not starting out with show, though. I'm starting out with actor, with Noah Wyle winning Best Actor Drama Series, The Pitt. I gotta tell you, he's amazing on The Pitt. And The Pitt really is that good, Oasis. The Pitt is incredible. I had an inkling that it would defeat Severance, which I said earlier today. But when you think about the performances, when you think about how Adam Scott has that conversation between his innie and his outie, and they really do feel like different people, using the camcorder, it's kind of amazing that he lost. But he did. And as soon as Noah Wyle won for Best Actor for Drama, I knew they were taking Best Series, which they did. They closed the night out with The Pitt, and HBO, although this was a Max show before they combined them again. Thank you, Cat Jack. Oh, you're a healthcare worker in Pittsburgh, Evan? That's phenomenal. I love that. I have family from Pittsburgh, so I feel like I have a connection to that show as well, but not like you. That's incredible. And it was very nice that all night long they gave shout-outs to real-world healthcare workers. In fact, Noah Wyle was wearing a tuxedo made by the people who make the scrubs for the show and for real-life doctors and nurses. So he looked good. Let's look at his suit again. He looked great in that tux. And he said it was very comfortable. So I bet they can sell maybe more of those. He looked just as good as anybody else, I feel. All right, so it won. HBO continues to win. Then when it comes, though, to Best Actress, so Britt Lauer won for Severance. Definitely deserves it, because look at the work that she did with Helly R. being both her innie and her outie, and you weren't sure who. Oh, some of you could tell, but that was very subtle work. And the fact that fans could tell before the script told them just shows you how good her acting was. Hey, Juan. And for those of you who didn't catch it, I didn't even catch it. You guys had to show me. She very cleverly wrote on the back of her speech, "Let me out." Isn't that amazing? Because just like her innie would say. So I think that was maybe too subtle. Hopefully social media picked up on that a little bit more. But that was pretty clever. I thought that was nice. She did a really wonderful job. I'm surprised, they had a lot of gags this evening. Jennifer Coolidge and Brett Garrett both said, don't expect your life to change if you win an Emmy or your career to change. And I must say, despite her being on one of the hottest shows, she really does not get a lot of opportunities as an actress. I'm surprised. Tramell Tillman's doing a lot better than she is. I want them both to do well. But I'm surprised that Britt Lauer can't get better work. I think she's coming up. She's like, she wasn't in Minecraft, was she? She was. It was a very small role. But Britt Lauer is going to be in some upcoming Harlan Coben series, I think, or something like that. Oh, Jennifer Coolidge was in Minecraft. Yeah, she was. She was great. Jennifer Coolidge was making a joke. Britt Lauer, I'm saying, actually could be doing a little bit better. But I'm so glad that she won. I'm not surprised. Kathy Bates is a formidable opponent in this category for Matlock, but Britt Lauer. Okay, then Tramell Tillman won Best Supporting Actor. Look at him being all Milchecky there. I love his outfit. He looks phenomenal. And he did a great job. And I think even more lovely was that he brought his mom with him. And he had a great speech where he said, "My first acting coach was very tough on me. But of course, my mom is a tough customer." And so he really underscored that his mother was with him at the very beginning when he was not successful, and then she was there with him this evening as he won this award. And I saw this pointed out online. He is the first Black actor to ever win this category. So really exciting. I think there's only great things on the horizon. Well, probably for everybody who won tonight. Television really is having a renaissance. But I'm very happy for Tramell Tillman. I think he really deserves it. And he's phenomenal on that show. And by the way, if you don't think he's a good actor, you can see he's very different here than he is as Milchek. Like, he was basically kind of playing Milchek in Mission Impossible, but you can see in real life, he's not just playing himself. He does have range, and I think that's really impressive. Best Supporting Actress in a Drama. Okay, so this was a real shocker, but I wanted to do this one because I thought it was nice to have the Wednesday mother and daughter duo there presenting. There's been a lot of scantily clad actresses lately. It's becoming a trend. Margot Robbie and Dakota Johnson did it over the weekend. But I gotta tell you, I thought that Jenna Ortega's outfit was really tasteful, and I thought really lovely. I thought she, followed the trend in a very elegant way. Although some people said her dress was very, what's that, Death Becomes Her? Isabella Rossellini's character from that. Although I felt kind of bad for Catherine Zeta-Jones having to stand next to her because Jenna Ortega just served with that dress. Catherine Zeta-Jones almost faded away. I felt so bad for her. I was like, it's great, but I'd be like, you got to give me a heads up that you're wearing something that amazing so that I can try and compete a little bit better. It just goes to show you, never let your guard down. Dress the best you possibly can because you don't know who you're going to be standing next to when you get up there. But yeah, I thought that Jenna Ortega's outfit was lovely. Okay, so this is the Best Supporting category. Look at this category. My God. So Patricia Arquette is in there, right? Who's the third person? So Patricia Arquette, and then Jenny Nicholson or whatever for Paradise, and then just a ton of White Lotus people, right? You got Carrie Coon, you've got Parker Posey, Natasha Rothwell, Amy Lou, right? And the actress from the Pitt one. She was in Daredevil, and she was awful in Daredevil. She's so bad. She had a small role in Daredevil, and she was so bad. So it just goes to show you never know. And this woman's been working for an extremely long time. And she's married to, I couldn't believe it, they got her a husband in the audience. She's married to Grant Show from Melrose Place. And I would never expect them to be a couple. So I gotta say, Katherine LaNasa is winning at life. I was like, what? And by the way, as good as she is on the Pitt, I mean, as bad as she was on Daredevil, she was that good on the Pitt. So she definitely deserved this award. But yes, a lot of you were shocked as well that she was married to Grant Shaw. I was like, who is she married to? I mean, you'd think he was a seat filler, until you recognized who he was. He doesn't work very much anymore. But that was hilarious. In Daredevil, Sophia, she was in the new season of Daredevil, she was one of the people who was fighting with Kingpin as he was mayor at the parties. She had such a small blink and you miss it role. So it just goes to show you what a crazy business this is. So that was just phenomenal. So she won. She beat out everybody at the White Lotus, and she was the first to run over with her speech. And so I felt really bad for her. I felt really horrible that they were like, nice speech and congrats, but you just cost the kids of America, the Boys and Girls Club, like $10,000. And you were like, oh, leave her alone. Okay, then this was amazing. So we have the directing and writing categories as well. So Slow Horses. I got to watch Slow Horses. Slow Horses won Best Directing for a Drama Series. And I got my tweet because I wanted to point out to you what it beat. It beat Severance, it beat The Pitt, it beat White Lotus, and it beat Andor for directing. I can't think of a better endorsement for Slow Horses if it's that well directed that it would beat all of those shows. I found that absolutely shocking. And then finally, writing. Now this was really nice. Andor won a major award. It wasn't even nominated for its actors, but it was nominated for Best Drama Series, which it lost. And it was nominated for Best Director, which it lost. But it won for Best Writing. It wasn't even Tony Gilroy, but it was his brother, Dan. And, Dan Gilroy had a very interesting speech. It was extremely industry. But then also it was very sentimental when he talked about how nice it was to be able to work with his brothers. But this is a very big deal for Star Wars. I think it would have been extremely embarrassing for them to take such a bold swing with making such a cerebral show, and for the industry to shut it out, to snub it. So the fact that it won, and I'm glad it won for writing, because it really was an incredible show. Andor Season 1 is very uneven, and even Andor Season 2, Night 2, episodes 3 through 6, a little bit of a slog. But outside of that, I think that Andor Season 2 is probably one of the best things I've ever seen about Rebellion. And the fact that and I've seen people talking about this, the fact that Star Wars was able to take a genre show and make it say something so important is just shocking. That's right, Oasis. The last 3 episodes, the last night of Andor was the best. But you couldn't really appreciate it if you didn't watch the first 6 episodes that came before it. But what they did with Andor was truly special. I think it did play directly into the end of Rogue One, just as Rogue One plays directly into A New Hope. And it was just, I'll never forget what it was like to watch that final night of Andor Season 2. And it was beautiful. And I think everybody here, I hope that you will check it out. Andor trended, Natalie. It did pretty good at the ratings, too. It wasn't a huge hit, to be honest with you. Andor Season 2 was not a huge hit. But I think that it was a respectable success, is how I would describe it. And I think the fact that it was able to take home at least one award and get some nominations means that perhaps they'll keep trying to do these things in the genre space, which is very exciting. All right, so that's the drama category. Now we'll talk about comedy. Okay, so finally, The Bear. The Bear actually didn't win anything because The Bear has gotten so bad. Apparently, Season 4 rebounded a little bit. Is anyone even watching The Bear anymore? I tried to watch Season 4 because I remembered liking Season 2 so much. I couldn't get through the first episode. I think people are frustrated not only with the quality of The Bear, but also the category fraud. I think people just can't take it anymore. It's not a comedy. I mean, I was watching season 4, episode 1, and I was like, how is this a comedy? It's just such a dour show. Oh, you guys are all so sweet. We'll do a Q&A at the end. I love being able to interact with everybody. But it wasn't a total sweep for the studio. A lot of people felt the studio would come in here and just sweep. But you can't defeat Hacks. And it's interesting, both the studio and Hacks are shows about the business. And Hollywood loves nothing more than rewarding shows about itself, shows and movies about itself. So it won Best Comedy, which I think is deserving. It's a very funny show. I think it's a lovely show. I think when people are so cynical about Hollywood, I think that this show manages to be honest about Hollywood's problems, yet still show that Hollywood's heart is in the right place. And that even though people make mistakes in the business and they don't always put out the best quality, they really do. It really does mean something to them. I don't know if that actually means, I don't know if that's actually true, but I do believe it's true for Seth Rogen. I think Seth Rogen loves the business that he's in, although Danny hates him. He is a little bit divisive, it seems. Seth Rogen created it. He co-wrote it. He co-directed it. He stars in it. It's very much a labor of love. And I do believe it's Seth Rogen finally getting on the board in a way where he wins awards. Seth Rogen started out as a very successful writer, working for Judd Apatow, then with 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then Knocked Up, he started to become an actor. He became very successful in the comedy space. Then he started producing. He produces The Boys, Invincible, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He does an incredible job. But I think he finally felt he'd like to maybe win some awards. Oh, that's right, Freaks and Geeks, Reese. That's where he started. And now he is winning awards. And so I think Seth Rogen has an incredible career. I think he's living the show that he is making. So he won. At this point, because no two shows, more so than The Studio and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, worked to give short speeches. But then they went under anyway. I mean, they went into negative money. So at the end, Seth Rogen was very funny, saying, we're already in the negative, so everybody come up here and say whatever you want. So that was great. So he won, and then he also won Best Lead Actor in a Comedy Show. And I, again, think he deserves it. He's just amazing. And I think he does a wonderful job blending comedy with heart. But yet again, it's a very realistic portrayal of what he needs to do as a head of a studio. I couldn't like the studio more. All right, then Gene Smart, though. There were no lead actors nominated for the studio, so Gene Smart came in here and took it. Thank you, Brad. That's very sweet of you to say that. Thank you, Brad, and I appreciate your support. So Gene Smart won. Gene Smart won yet again. She must have such an Emmy shelf. It probably looks like the Emmy stage with all the Emmys in the back there. They said she's won like 7 Emmys or something at this point. She's also been working for a very, very long time. She started out, of course, on Designing Women, a sitcom, back like in the 80s, I think. So that's incredible. Then Jeff Hiller. Jeff Hiller won Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series. Here's who he won up against. It's amazing that he won. He beat out Sal Saperstein. Everybody was saying, how are they not saying thanks to Sal Saperstein? Because if you watch The Studio, that's a running gag in the Golden Globes episode. So I guess maybe they wanted to be taken more seriously, but that would have been, I don't know. I'm mixed on whether or not they should have done that. But they beat out Sal Saperstein, Coleman Domingo from The Four Seasons, Harrison frickin' Ford. Harrison Ford's like, what? I even come to this thing. Ebon Moss-Bachrach, Michael Urie, Bowen Yang. I wonder if Bowen Yang's ever actually going to win. Bowen Yang, by the way, just got given a truckload of money to stick around Saturday Night Live. But I think that was the right move. I'm a big Bowen Yang fan. I think he's very, very funny. But Jeff Hiller won, and I've never seen this show. I don't even know what it's about. And a lot of you, Michael Urie is a cutie pie, Martine. I saw him singing along during the Golden Girls ode, which I thought was really sweet. So anyway, Jeff Hiller won. Never even heard of this show. So I asked you guys about it. See, Barbara says, he's worked for a very long time. He gave a very sweet speech about he didn't know if entertainment or business was really going to work out for him. But a lot of you said this is a really beautiful show about LGBTQ individuals finding a place for themselves in Middle America. And that seems like really important work right now. So that's lovely, and I'm glad that it was recognized. Then Now, this was interesting. Best Supporting Actress, Hannah Einbinder. Her mother actually was from Saturday Night Live, one of the founding cast members of that show. And Hannah Einbinder, first of all, I'm so happy that she won. Because everybody always gives awards to Jean Smart, but it takes two to tango, particularly on this show. And they're really a dynamic duo, and the show is as much a treat because of Hannah Einbinder as it is for Jean Smart. But she had a very funny speech. It started out her just saying, man, I was all set to say there's, who wants to win? The honor is in not winning, but then of course now she was a winner. It was very, very much her character from Hacks. But then she got super political. I heard she got bleeped. I was watching Paramount Plus where they let the swear words fly. But apparently on on the network, they bleeped her. But she really took a stand, and she was trending for a long time. And she said she'd pay the money for going over on her speech. And because she didn't feel limited, she had one of the best and most noticed speeches of the night. So she is a very political person. I mean, telling Hannah Einbinder not to be political is just a waste of time because that's very much who she is. I think the award show overall didn't get that political, and I think that Hannah Einbinder has every right to she won. She has every right to express her political views. I think that she did it polite. I think she was polite about it. She wasn't apologetic. But, she expressed her views in the time that was allotted to her. So she won. And then you can see, I think that the studio split the vote just like the White Lotus did. Because you had Katherine Hahn and Catherine O'Hara, I think, splitting that vote. So that was, I think, I had a friend who was in the industry who was like, Catherine O'Hara was robbed, man. Hopefully they'll get maybe nominated and win for the studio season 2, which they're definitely going to be making. But this was a tough category, which makes it all the more shocking that Hannah Einbinder won. Then Best Directing. Seth Rogen, and that's Evan Goldberg, by the way. Evan Goldberg doesn't get a lot of attention, but he is Seth Rogen's partner professionally. Evan Goldberg writes, directs, and produces everything that Seth Rogen does, but just doesn't get any attention for it. Their speech was lovely. I liked that they said they were going to split that Emmy. They were very funny. And they won for directing for The Oneer. And that's fascinating to me because Limited Series also won Best Director, and that was also for a one-take episode. So that was interesting. Yeah, even The Boys, Danny. Evan Goldberg also does The Boys. But yeah, I thought that was really a surprise. I mean, I think it was great that they won. And if you've seen The Oneer, it's an amazing episode. I mean, hands down, it deserved to win Best Director. Then, Fatine watched that episode 4 times. I mean, you can watch that episode 4 times. It's amazing. And then they also won Best Writing. So that's some of the writing staff there. And I'm so glad that they won because the show is incredibly well written. Okay, then finally, let's take a look at Limited. I don't know why that picture looks so weird. Okay, so this is Limited Series. So Adolescence won. It beat out a lot of big shows. But I think it was this year's Baby Reindeer. I don't think it was at all surprising that it won. And I think it deserved to win. It was really an incredible show, and it was winning all night long. You knew it was going to take home Best Limited Series. And then, though, Stephen Graham won Best Actor, which was a surprise because Colin Farrell's been winning every single award. I feel a little bad for Colin Farrell. I think it's slightly embarrassing. I mean, Stephen Graham was phenomenal, but I think Colin Farrell was really, really good. I thought Stephen Graham gave an interesting speech. It is I would liken him, he's like the British J.K. Simmons. Like, he's been a supporting actor for so long. You would never think that he would level up in this way, which, of course, J.K. Simmons so famously did for Whiplash. So I'm very happy for Stephen Graham. I also thought it was very interesting that he pointed out that he was he's multiracial, which I was not aware of. And I think it was interesting that he called attention to that. I think pointing out you shouldn't make assumptions about anybody. And I think in a time period where I think people are making too many assumptions. So he had his speech. He did a lovely job, and I'm very happy that he won. He had a very nice thing to say about his wife, and he was very, very touching that he said he didn't even think he would be there today. He felt that his wife saved his life. So that's really beautiful. Then Kristen Milioti, she won for the Penguin, and she ended up being the only Penguin win. When she won earlier in the evening, everybody thought she was going to win. I mean, that Colin Farrell would therefore win, and that Penguin would take home acting. But she was the only win for Penguin. She did a great job. She was very good on that show. She chewed the scenery like nobody's business, but that's what the role demanded. And so I was very happy for her. I liked her speech. Again, my industry friends were not too impressed with her speech, but I liked it a lot. I thought it was lovely. Then Owen Cooper won Best Supporting Actor. He's getting big real fast. That's right, X-Men Superfan. We like to see a DC win, and I thought it was nice that she thanked DC. So Owen Cooper won for Best Supporting Actor, and he had a lovely speech as well. He talked about the fact that, don't be afraid about embarrassing yourself. Just put yourself out there because you never know what might happen. And I thought that was lovely. He's not going to be Robin. He's already too big. He's too big to be Robin. He's already Nightwing. But when he won, what really stood out to me was that earlier in the evening, I had seen him talk to Jake Gyllenhaal. They did a little social media bit because apparently Owen Cooper is a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. So they did a little bit where Jake Gyllenhaal surprised him because Owen Cooper had been going around to so many places saying how much he loved Jake Gyllenhaal. And I thought that was lovely. And the nicest thing was that Jake Gyllenhaal gave him a little gift. And he said right before, I think Jake Gyllenhaal for winning an Emmy, because I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal's won an Oscar. But Jake Gyllenhaal said before he won an award, a friend of his gave him a little tiny, little duck. It was a lucky duck. And he said, keep it with you. And I kept mine with me, and I won. And I was like, that's a lot of pressure, Jake. What if he doesn't win? What if the duck ends up being a loser duck? But that never came to pass because he did win. And I thought that was really sweet. So I hope that Owen Cooper, wherever he keeps his Emmy, he puts that little duck right in front of it. And apparently, like Jake Gyllenhaal signed the bottom of the duck or something. It was lovely. That's right, Oasis. We'd all like to have like a lucky duck from Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a fun idea. Okay, and then also from Severance, Erin Doherty won. She was the psychologist from that show, and she won Best Supporting Actress in a Limited Series. So she also won in an extreme. That's for director. But yeah, very competitive categories. But she did a lovely job. Then when it came to directing, Elizabeth Banks. I don't know what was going on with Elizabeth Banks this evening. Let's talk about Elizabeth Banks. First of all, what happened to her hair? She's turning into Jennifer Coolidge before our eyes. So then she came out and she gave her resume, which I actually appreciated because she hasn't worked for a while, so I appreciated the refresher. But then she was like, and if you don't know who I am, what are you doing in this room? And I was like, ooh, it's on you, Elizabeth Banks. You haven't been working for a while. Hollywood has a short memory. But then she gave some big speech about how, wasn't it wonderful to see the reverse in this category, where there was only one man nominated for Best Directing of a Limited Series, and the rest of it was all women. And now as soon as she said that guy directed Severance, I was like, ooh, Elizabeth, this is not going to turn out well for you. And sure enough, he won. You can see his reaction there because it was so bad. And I don't know why she had to do that, because why taint his win like that? I mean, as soon as they said what he directed, I was like, he's going to win, Elizabeth, and you're going to look like an idiot. And she did. Oh, Adolescence. Sorry, Adolescence. Not Severance. Adolescence. I apologize. But yeah, so he won, and Elizabeth Banks looked like an idiot in many ways. Okay. Then for writing, it was Adolescence, which again was Stephen Graham, and that's Jack Thorne, who really has been put through it on the press circuit. A lot of people were very upset about Adolescence, you might recall, when it came out, and they were like, what are you trying to say? And then you're like, have you seen what's happened since? I mean, I think, I didn't even think about that until right now, but what happened here in America last week, I think has a lot of similarities to Severance, which is sad and shocking. Very similar. That's amazing. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, and so a lot of people were very really, coming at Jack Thorne, and he gave a lot of lovely interviews about it on the news and why he wrote Adolescence. Did I not say Adolescence? I think you guys are a little bit behind maybe, right? I think there's a little bit of a delay. But yeah, do I keep saying Severance instead of Adolescence? I apologize. Okay, so yes, so they are very similar words. So yes, so Adolescence, yeah, I don't know why I keep thinking Severance. That's crazy. It's very late, and I've been working since 11 a.m. with movie math. Woohoo, baby! What a day! I loved it, though. I loved every second of it. But I also think it's important to see who his partner is. They're the two who created this show, and I think, obviously, it ended up being, not only did they put something very important out into the world, but it was very helpful to their careers. Okay, so yes, so that's what happened this evening. Those are the winners. Let's do a 5-minute Q&A. Hold on. There we go. Thank you for staying up with me. And so I wanted to be able to talk to you guys. And please keep your questions and comments to the Emmys. Oh, Away says Adolescence is being shown in UK schools. Oh, that's lovely. I'm glad to hear that. Who is your favorite host, Roxy? Ooh, I'm not sure. It's very late. I don't remember who I think is the best host. I'm sorry to say off the top of my head. Biggest snub, JD? I would say Adam Scott for Severance. And I got the show correct that time. My pleasure, Danny. Best speech mystic? I liked Hannah Einbinder's speech. I liked Tramell Tillman's speech. And there was somebody else I wanted to mention. Oh, I thought Britt Lauer was very clever with writing that on the back of the note. That's right, Stephen. A lot of LGBT talent this evening. Oh, Alvaro says, I am a doctor and use the brand of scrubs. Oh, that's great. That's so fun. That's so cool. Oh, thank you, Salvador. Let's see. Peter, you definitely need to watch The Pitt. Thanks, Jesus. I'm glad you guys like this shirt. It's from Anthropology. I don't think they're still selling it, but I loved it. That's right, Rachel. Pedro Pascal looked fantastic, and I was so happy to see him get a little bit of a nice little bit with Leanne. Watch Leanne, such a funny sitcom on Netflix, just renewed for season 2, and I thought their interaction was really sweet. Elise says, what is the name of the show about LGBTQ people in the Midwest? Hold on. I don't even remember, but I have it out here. I have it because I have the photo. Somebody else might be able to answer it while I look. Where'd that guy go? Ooh, there he is. Somebody Somewhere. I think it's on HBO Max. Yash says, how can the next White Lotus win? I don't know. I think White Lotus has won a lot of awards at this point. I think that it would have to do something considerably different to win again. Or it would have to be a slow year. Nathan, you're right. Poor Katherine Hahn. But she looked great. Like the glasses, Katherine. I liked her bit a little bit with Ike Barinholtz about not needing a writer and then needing a writer. But I didn't think it was as funny as it could have been. Oh, good night, Oasis. Oh, you really stayed up late, and I really appreciate it. Let's see here. Bye, Jazzy Jones. Elliot says, do you prefer this year's Emmys than the Oscars? I don't even remember the Oscars at this point. I always think the Oscars are a little better. I mean, they're a little bit more of an important award, I'm sorry to say. X-Men Superfan says, Pedro Pascal and James Marsden had a little chat in between the commercial cut. They both looked very nice. They did look very nice. I would agree. Let's see. Natalie Sue, I will cover the Pitt season 2, for sure. I discovered that show after the fact, thanks to many of you recommending it, and I just fell in love with it. I will definitely be covering it. I don't think I'll cover it week to week. Maybe I'll tweet about it. It's not really that kind of show, but I'll certainly cover maybe like a review and then a spoiler. Zeke, why didn't Colin Farrell win? Because I think that while his show was great and his performance was incredible, it's hard to beat a show that has an important message. And The Penguin, I mean, I think it had an important message. Never trust a bad guy, no matter how nice they are to you, right? It's not anywhere near what Adolescence accomplished. Oh, thank you, classic movie lover. Kenan Thompson to this day is the best Emmy host. I still go back and rewatch his opening sketch with the opening numbers and the theme songs. I still go back and watch it sometimes. He was the best Emmys host, I think, of recent memory. Nathan, I did review Only Murders in the Building. I have a review of that. Juan says, do you think they should bring Ricky Gervais back to hosting? No, I think we need to move away from mean. I really think that everybody's just too mean these days. And I think, I don't mind a zinger. Pew, pew, pew. But let's tone it down a little. Mr. Magic, I was very happy about the Pitt wins. I feel a little bit bad for Adam Scott, as I said. I think I really like Noah Wiley's performance, but I would have preferred Adam Scott to win Best Actor and the Pitt to win Best Drama Series. Danny, thank you for asking. My eyes are a lot better. I wore my contacts for several hours today, but I need to give them a break. Rachel, Carrie Coon is a very understated actress. I think it's going to be tough for her to win. She might win for the Gilded Age, maybe. I guess maybe it didn't qualify this year. Did it or did it not? But, I think maybe that's a role she can win for. Oh, Josh, it's my pleasure to stay up, but I'm so glad you could join me for the live stream. Let's see here. Theater Kid, you don't ever heard of the Pitt? You got to go watch the Pitt. It's incredible. Yeah, Just Fun for Life said, I am sad for Walton Goggins and Adam Scott. It was pretty crazy when Walton Goggins and Parker Posey came out. And I'm sure they both thought by the time they came out in that time in the evening, they would be winners. But they were losers. Let's see here. Oh, Platinum Diva, we're keeping you company while you do your homework. That's so great. I'm so glad we can lighten the mood a little bit. And then Babette says, what do you think of Kamala's Colbert Show statement? Oh, Babette, I'm only keeping it to the Emmys, but I appreciate you asking. Let's see here. Zeester, it's 7:15 a.m. You must be on the other side of the globe. I love it. Thank you, X-Men Superfan. Hey, thanks for joining, Maria. The Hanser says, which season of Severance do you prefer? Oh, no doubt season 2. I thought season 2 had incredible episodes. I mean, that Cold Harbor, it's kind of crazy that Ben Stiller didn't win for Best Director for Cold Harbor and Slow Horses won instead. I mean, again, I have not seen Slow Horses, so I can't say if it's deserving or not, but I'm really shocked. Oh, Intersea, I'm so glad you got a membership. Oh, that's lovely. I'm so happy. And then JD says, who do you think benefited the most from winning tonight career-wise? Ooh, good question. Stephen Graham. And boy, Noah Wyle, he has a court case where the widow of Michael Crichton says they ripped her off. So we'll see. That just ratcheted up even more so. Wanda's attorney says, can White Lotus come back from this? Oh, for sure. It's such a good soap opera. It's so juicy. It'll come back. But maybe he might want to choose a snowy location. He hasn't settled on the location for sure just yet, but if he does another tropical location, he might, I don't know if he can top the drama of season 3. So, he has to be careful not to jump the shark. Yeah. Charlie, I have watched K-Pop Demon Hunters. I've watched it twice. I love it. Oh, you guys are all very sweet. Nico, he has narrowed it down to France, but there are the French Alps, so he could still do it. Okay, I think we're good. I think this is, we had a great conversation. Thank you for joining me live after the Emmys. I know it's very late. For some of you, it's early in the day, the next day. I had a great time going over this with you. There will be live streams later this week. And I had a great time talking to you. Hey, Riley, thank you so much. You guys are great. I'll see you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.